Hi everyone, what's up? AB Scott, this is your boy Abbas. Welcome to the family, welcome to AB Reacts. Guys, we are all back. Yes, we are back and checking out another interesting, fun video and educative one for that matter. So if you know you're ready to do this and also watch the video with me, do also hit your like button, join the family, join AB Reacts by clicking on your subscribe button and then the notification bell so you don't miss out when I upload a video. If you have recommendations, suggestions, guys, always do well to leave it right there in the comment section. Alright, Emmy's going without wasting time. Let's dive in, guys.
But it is Islamophobic if I state the fact that I think that Muhammad very evidently made up the Quran. As I say, racism does exist and we should be addressing that in our societies, but Islamophobia as such is a crock term. It is not to have any special seminar, any special hearing, any special vocal representatives. As an immigrant friend of mine always puts it, the moment when you know you're really integrated is when you realize that being a citizen consists of simply putting up with the same old crap the rest of us have to put up with.
The debate you're about to watch took place in Brussels. And, as usual, Douglas Murray didn't hold back when talking about Islam.
Islam is, I'm the first to concede, exceedingly complex, is not homogeneous, has very many confused ideas within it, as indeed does Europe. But there's no point in solely beating up on Europe in such a debate and solely praising Islam, because praise and indeed blame have to be shared around at least equally. But addressing Islam and saying that racism and Islamophobia can be brought together in the way they have been in recent years is, to my mind, very troubling for the following reason.
Now pay attention to this.
I'm an atheist. I have no dog in the religious fight, as it were. But it is Islamophobic if I state the fact that I think that Muhammad very evidently made up the Quran. I also believe, by the way, that Moses didn't come down from the mountain with any engraved stones, and I think it less likely that Mary, the mother of Jesus, had a child for the first time without any interjection of the male, and more likely that a young Jewish girl told a fib.
All right. Now watch as Douglas tells this harsh truth about Islam and the concept of Islamophobia.
I think it is good. Like, I mean, Douglas has always, like, I don't know if most of them actually, take what he says, because if every single videos I've watched is really saying something about the Islam, the way they do things, the religion, the rules, like, I mean, by now this should actually be a waking up call for them to sit up and then see how they can do things about this, because I mean it is something that has been brought, like it is something that has affected a lot of things. I can boldly tell you that, guys.
I believe that Christians and Jews put up with hearing that most of the time, and I don't get called a Christophobe or a Judeophobe for saying so, but an Islamophobe straight off, absolutely. As I say, racism does exist, and we should be addressing that in our societies, but Islamophobia as such is a crock term. It is not to have any special seminar, any special hearing, any special vocal representatives.
That is absolutely well said by Douglas. Speaking of vocal representatives, let's now turn to Bashi Qureshi, who is sitting across from Douglas as he offers a comeback.
I have never heard Douglas speak before. I have not even read anything what he have written. So it's the first time, well, I have read worse people than him, So I would like to correct him factually two things, because when I hear him, I am really amazed that he's so ignorant of what is happening among Muslim communities and even what is happening in Britain. Let me give an example. He says, Islam has many confused ideas, as has Europe. Now, a man of his stature is comparing a religion with a continent.
Next, the Rasta Muslim takes another jab at Douglas.
Then you said that Islamophobia is a bogus term. I agree with you, because it's not Islamophobia, it is hatred against Islam. Douglas, you should know that Islamophobia is our hatred against Islam is not a new phenomenon. It started right after the inception of Islam, where the popes and the clergy and the whole historical narrative, if you see, it is anti-Islamic. We, as people who call ourselves Muslims, we say there is no compulsion in religion. Anybody can change religion if they want.
No compulsion in religion. Oh, wow. Tell that to people who were executed for blasphemy. Tell that to children who were beaten or even killed by their own relatives because they didn't want to live their lives by medieval.
You see what we are talking about. You see why I say it is very, very important. It is significant to do this in your own will, not forcefully. Like, I think this Islamic religion has really dealt with a lot of people, a lot of lives, a lot of families, by stoning people to death, by also, killing people, and then still they will still come out to defend Islam, to say things about it. And then, come on guys, like, what do you think? Like I will always say, if our own thing was to be done this way, I think by now this world wouldn't have been contented for a lot of people, because I see these things and then I ask myself questions and I tell myself, why are all these things happening? Like, you shouldn't live by the rule. We do that, we should live by the rule, but not living by the rules in a forceful way, in something that you need to decide, something that you need to work on, something that you need to feel that, okay, I have to do this. It's not something that it is being pushed on you, it's being said on you that you have to do it, or maybe it's compulsory, or it's something that, yes, it's totally uncalled for.
Evil standards of their parents' religion. We'll hear Douglas's own comeback shortly, but let me say this. If you are wondering why Islam is hated all across the world, it's because the religion is intolerant, backward, and violent. That is a fact. Islam also doesn't have a good record on human rights, women's rights, or any special group that is considered different. Homosexuals are beaten and stoned to death. Women are forced to wear hijabs, niqabs, burqas, or whatever else you want to call the potato sack and scarves they must be wrapped in. Practices like honour killings and child marriages are prevalent. Well, I could go on, but let's hear from Douglas.
Douglas, you've heard a number of comments here over the last 2 hours or so. Have you mellowed a bit? Has it changed any of your ideas?
I don't quite know why it's me that has to mellow. I mean that perfectly frankly. I don't see why I should drop my hatred of and disdain for bigoted and racist viewpoints that come from Islam. And nothing that's happened today will change that contempt or that hatred for that kind of bigotry.
That is well said by Douglas. Now, watch as Douglas addresses Bashi's comments next.
Bashi said that he didn't know of my work, and I can certainly return the compliment. But he did say that he was not sure why I wasn't talking about Christianity and Islam, and it is, I can simply say, because it's not the title of what we're meant to be discussing today. The title was Europe and Islam, and that's what I've tried to approach. I do think there's one thing that you said, Bashi, which is important to take up on, which I thought was deeply disingenuous. Your quoting of the Quran, the Quranic verse about there being no compulsion in religion.
That is spot on by Douglas. Now pay attention to this.
You do know how that verse goes on. Would you like to quote it to the people present?
First of all, in all religious scriptures...
And just
let me finish. I'm just saying to you, because I'm answering to you, because you're taking just one surah out of context.
Well, you quoted it.
No.
Okay, I would say Islam, like you all said, is very, very intolerant. Why would you be forcing people, like I would always say, why would you be forcing people to do what they are not supposed to do? Like, the way the ladies, like the women in Islam, cover themselves, like you wonder if they are able to be like, most times I feel for them, because seeing them in that kind of position, seeing them in that kind of atmosphere, in that kind of mood, I totally feel for them. But at the same time, I ask myself, why are they doing this? Why it's been forced on them? Like, most times the women don't actually have voices. They don't say anything.
Okay, let's move on, please. Come on.
One of the things I think we have learned from today, and some of us have agreed on, is that the approach of many of our governments at the moment is wrong.
Again, Douglas is absolutely spot on. He goes on to make this remarkable point.
Our governments in Europe still too much think, in the same way as Kissinger said about Europe, which number do I dial to get Europe? And our leaders still continue to think, which number do I dial to get the Muslims? This is the wrong way to think about it. You don't dial numbers to get communities. They are just simply part of Britain or Europe, as Daniel said at the outset. We should be faith blind as we are colour blind. But the problem is that when you have the most reactionary, the most bigoted people, the most loudmouth people stepping forward, this is a problem.
Douglas is right, isn't he? Speaking of bigotry, Islam is definitely the most intolerant, least liberal religion out there. It is also most determined to spread by bloodshed both now and historically. It has turned millions of potentially normal, decent people who could do something useful, something great, into a bunch of mumbling zombies who dedicate their lives to being a tool in the hands of Allah and trying to please him. Just look at the countries that established Islam as their state ideology. Iran, Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia. Those are countries no one sane person would want to live in. If Islam is so beautiful and peaceful, why are all the countries trying to live by its standards so horrible? Coincidence? I don't think so. Now let's turn again to Douglas.
The options we have in Europe seem to me to be twofold to deal with this issue. One is to do the following, which is broadly speaking what we are doing across the continent at the moment. It is to decide that there is a serious problem with Islamic fundamentalism which we have noticed, and as a result, for the rest of time we will be discussing Islam, Muslims, Muslim communities. We will be having many, many seminars like this one. There will be a dialogue that goes on endlessly, and we will additionally be paying huge amounts of money to self-appointed Muslim representatives, usually the big mouths from their communities.
That is well said. Douglas goes on to describe how these self-appointed representatives behave before giving a caution to Europe.
Guys, I just want to let me know what you have to say in the comment section. Like, whoa, a lot have been said. A lot have been said. Like, I don't know why they keep on arguing. They keep on, making it look like Islam is totally a different thing that with the perspective, with the picture we have in our head. So I think they need to do something.
They will, by and large, also be more radical than the people they claim to speak for. And as a result, the whole dialogue will be skewed. That's one possibility. That's what we're doing at the moment. And we've seen the problem from that again and again. We keep on making the same mistake over and over again. The second option is that Europe itself, Europeans, are better at saying what it is we believe in, what it is we are, that is, people of all faiths and none, and say where we draw the line.
I couldn't agree more. It is to our credit that in Europe we have people with strong beliefs, some with no beliefs, and most who are somewhere in the middle. However, a problem arises when a particular belief system does not want to adjust to our society, but rather wants us to adapt to it. Watch this.
I do not believe in assimilation. Look, I am from the first generation, what you call. I came to Europe. At that time, we never talked about Islam or Prophet and what Quran said. Europe were busy giving broom in our hands so that we start cleaning and wash their windows. And that is what was happening. Today, the young people are demanding their rights. And when they are demanding their rights, some people in majority society don't want to give them rights. So it's a question of citizenship, it's a question of equal right, but most important, equal treatment under the law.
What exactly is Bashi saying here? Let me guess. This looks like a woeful attempt to play the victim card. The fact is that the Council of Europe guarantees the human rights of its member states, including the right to practice any religion. And that includes Islam. But then, what we're saying is that we don't want Sharia here. There are no concessions made to Buddhists, Christians, Hindus, or Jews in most Muslim countries, are there. Now, speaking of integration, Bashi's stubbornness in not assimilating shouldn't surprise anyone. How can people like him assimilate when Allah tells them that an unbeliever is their enemy? Therefore, many Muslims do not mingle with or get to know any other community outside of the Muslim community. Those who do fit in do so because they don't follow Islam as they should, and this makes them hypocrites according to the Quran. Meanwhile, let's hear Douglas's final words as we drag the curtain here.
The moment when you know you're really integrated is when you realize that being a citizen consists of simply putting up with the same old crap the rest of us have to put up with. And that's it.
Now, let's continue this debate in the comments section. What do you think about Islam and integration? Do you agree with Bashi that Muslims are not treated equally?
Alright guys, like I said, let's continue this talk in the comment section. What do you really think? Do you really think Islam is a better place to stay? Do you really think there are some adjustments that needs to be done? What do you think? Is Islam being treated equally? Let me know your own comments in the comment section. Drop your comments there and we will talk about it. And right guys, at this point I want to thank you so much for staying tuned to watch this video with me. It was really a good thing. It was really my pleasure to have you on this channel to look at this video with me. So at this point I want to say thank you and then stay safe, stay blessed. See you in my next video. Alright guys, bye.